Hello, niche website builders.
Sorry about the delay.
I think you need to turn me down, Tim, because I can hear me coming back.
Right, how do I turn you down?
Just turn the music. Just turn the volume down.
Yeah.
So sorry about the delay there. We had some technical issues. We still have some technical issues, I think, in that there's an echo. I think there's an echo. There's an echo for me. I think there might be an echo for everyone. So let me know if there is. If not, I'll just.
Can you actually hear me now?
We can hear you, Tim. I think there was a little bit of a delay, but
there we go.
I think there's not so much of a delay now, but we'll work with it. We will work with it. Yeah. I think there is some echo. You haven't got any headphones, have you, Tim?
How do I turn the live stream off, Lee? I've got no idea what's going on here.
You're here. You're fine. Turn it off.
Yeah. So Lee just said I need to turn the live stream off.
Tim, you need to turn the live stream off. No, I don't know. It's all good. The live stream is all good here. We just need to. Are you? Yeah, you're not watching it on YouTube, are you?
No. There's something over in the corner where it's like you're in the show, everyone can see and hear you, and then there's the main screen.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
So you. Okay, so have you got YouTube open?
Technical difficulties. No, I don't have YouTube open. No.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I think the ideal would be headphones if you had them, but I don't think you have. So we'll work with that. It's fine. I'll stop. I won't be talking so much in a minute. Anyway, you'll be doing the talking. So anyway, welcome to the show, everybody. I've got a whole bunch of people here. We've got 30 people here so far, which is a huge amount at the start of the show. So we've got Adrian, we've got Chris, we've got Birdie, we've got Robin. We got Ian Harris, who's very pleased to see you here. Brian, Sarah. So lots of people. So thanks for joining. Again, sorry for being late. Had a few technical issues, but a reboot fixed, solved all. So in today's show, we're going to talk about HARO Link Building at the coalface with Tim, and Tim is our HARO Team Manager here at Niche Website Builders. He does exist. You can't really see him.
No, it's very dark.
But maybe he doesn't want his identity known. So
I live in a terrible old Victorian terrace, so everything is dark and miserable here. So it is.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so we'll jump straight into it. I guess what I want to say is like and subscribe if you like the show. If you're new around here, more people we get like and subscribe, the more people we get on the stream, and it makes it more fun. Also, just a quick mention of our Building Empires online event, 7th to 9th of June. Lots of great speakers about website investing, building niche sites. Go to building.empires.live and register for free and join the fun. So I'm going to crack on because we're running a little bit late.
Dun, dun, dun.
Tim, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Mark.
Tell us a bit about your background. You run HARO for us, the Shop Builders, but you used to do stuff before that. So tell us a little bit about your background.
What do you want to know, basically?
So, take us back to the beginning. Actually, you told me a story about your mum the other day. That's good. That's a good place to start. When you were 12 or something.
I was 14, 15. So yeah, I never wanted to be a journalist ever. I sort of fell into it by default. Because I just wanted to join the army, and that's all I thought I was going to do. But my ma used to work for the local newspaper as a journalist, and she used to have tickets for all these theatre productions, but nobody would go with her. So I used to go with her, and she'd fall asleep. So she'd have to write the review. So I ghost wrote all the reviews for like 2 years, until the paper found out, and then just started publishing my reviews as and were under my own name, and I sort of did it by default.
Yeah. So you began writing, and then you did go into journalism right full time for quite a long period of time.
Yeah.
And I think we've got more technical issues, Tim. You are breaking up and
yeah, it's trying to restore my connection. Stand by, we are trying to restore your connection.
okay, I think you're here.
Okay, back or not?
Yeah, you're back to tell us about you're in music journalism, right?
Yeah, but I didn't start until I was 25, 26, because I did other things before then, and after then, between then as well. So while keeping the music journalism going, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so tell us about your time as a journalist in music.
Well, I started writing for a publication called Fracture, which then progressed to, which was a sort of a free music paper for the whole of the UK. It was a punk rock music paper, and then I progressed to Big Cheese, which was one of the supermarket tabloids. You could get it off in any supermarket basically, and it just went from there. I got picked up by record labels and asked to do A&R and PR for them, which is what I did for years as well. And then started my own magazine called Mass Movement, which started as a print magazine, which was available from record shops and all that kind of stuff. And then print became so prohibitively expensive that we moved on to just the site, and that was it. And yeah, here I am. Basically, awesome. I still do it in my spare time, but nowhere near as much as I used to.
Yeah, so you got mass media, mass movement, right?
Mass movement, yeah.
Mass movement, yeah.
Mass movement.
So yeah, still got a podcast and website with that.
Yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, have you got any stories you can tell us about your time in the music industry?
That can actually be repeated on air. That's the problem. So, it's not what you think it is. The business, it's completely different, and it looks, it always seems more attractive from the outside than when you actually get in there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I got to meet my musical heroes, I got to meet my comic book heroes, and I got to meet my wrestling heroes, and I've interviewed all of them and spent time with all of them. And that stuff about never meeting heroes, it's not true, because they were all wonderful, wonderful people.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so let's go into HARO then.
Right.
So we're going to talk a little bit about, we launched the HARO service and issue website builders back in November. We earmarked you straight away for that role.
End of November.
So there's a delay again.
Right.
Sorry. Yeah. So
that's okay.
So yeah, we started that service back in November, and you were originally doing writing for us, and then you now moved over to manage the HARO team, which has now got a few team members to support you. So we're going to talk a little bit about how we do HARO. I guess it'd be good to kind of take it from the top. Let's tell people a little bit about what HARO is.
But HARO is help a reporter out, and it's basically a source-based request site. So writers and reporters and journalists who are putting features together send their feature ideas into HARO, and then HARO emails those out to people who are signed up as sources, and it invites them to pitch on the stories and basically act as their sources for the stories they're writing.
Yeah, well, that's way better than I would have said it, so I'm glad that you said it. So yeah, I mean, and I think the great thing, Tim really hit the ground running because of his journalistic background. He just knew the way that journalists wanted things, knew how to talk the talk and walk the walk. So we've had some really good success with the HARO service, and
I think I found some headphones, so let's see if that helps with the echo.
Okay, go for it. So we're going to talk a little bit about, I guess the thing with HARO is they sort of publish their requests 3 times a day. And so you wait for an email to come out basically 3 times a day, and in each email there's hundreds of source requests. Oh, that's good. I can't hear myself now. It's much less distracting. Hopefully you can still hear me.
I can hear you. Yeah.
Excellent. So hundreds of source requests in each email, and I guess the first thing is we've got to kind of filter those out to relevant requests. So, do you have any tips for like, well, how do we go about that, or how do you go about that?
Right. So basically, every day I start off, and the team start off with what we call pitch sheets, and all our clients are on there, and then we'll go through the entirety of the list quickly just to make sure we know what we're filtering through and highlighting for each client, and then we'll pitch according to niche for each client that we've got. But it's better to go through the whole list rather than try and highlight or grab something from like the entertainment list or the business list. If you've got the whole list in front of you, you can pitch on basically anything that you can.
Yeah. Yep. So, and it's just a very manual process in that respect.
Oh, absolutely, completely manual.
Yeah. Okay, so we go ahead and we filter through the list. We find the requests that are appropriate for the site that we're working on, or the client that we're working with, and I guess I've kind of skipped a little bit. I've gone a bit ahead. I guess the first thing that we do is we make sure we set up a persona and bio for each of our customers, because, well, journalists are very diligent, right, about like making sure that their sources. So yeah, tell us about that.
So, so if you HARO needs a source before you can actually sign up, before you can actually get the mailing list. So when we speak to our clients, we actually ask them, do they want us to pitch as them, or do they want us to use a persona that we'll create for them to act as a pitching vessel? And it's dependent upon the client's requests and what the client actually wants. That's how we work, because we're ghosts. Effectively, we're working for our clients. We don't write as ourselves. We write as our clients and their personas. So it's important to find out as much about the client as you possibly can, so that you get a sense for who they are, their personality, and their voice, and then you can write as them. So we'll create the personas, or we'll pitch as the client, and then we'll use purpose set of mailboxes and pitch on any relevant requests for their niche, and any requests that we think can actually fit what they need from us, or what they need from HARO rather.
Yeah, right. And we go about setting up like an about page on the website with some details about each any of the personas that we set up, so that we can kind of point journalists to that, and it kind of looks kind of authentic then. And essentially that's what we do, isn't it? We'll set up we'll set up an about page and create an actual bio for each of the individual personas. So we set up email addresses. So we use we just use our own email address. So we'll buy a new domain, essentially, which is generally a .email domain, and we'll go out and use that for the journal requests. So, and of course, I guess the other thing worth mentioning is that we set up a signature. We put up a signature in the email, so that looks all good and proper as well. Just to give the journalist that we're pitching to kind of that extra little bit of confidence.
So, it's basically about building a whole personality and something that the journalist can backtrack and look at and find as much information about as they possibly can. And it's all there. It's the complete package before we start pitching. Yeah.
Because especially the bigger sites, they're going to want to see that, aren't they? Okay. So go ahead.
No, I was just waiting for you to ask what I was like. So basically, once we've set up a persona, we will speak to the client. If the client's happy with the persona or the pitching vessel that we've set up for them as themselves, once they've signed off on that, that's when we can start pitching and sign up that persona as a source for HARO. And then the list will come through, and we'll basically work alongside the client to make sure that we're pitching to what they want us to pitch. We're pitching for their niche, and we're pitching for any niches that they think are relevant to what they do, so that we don't pull in or end up having them quoted on any sites they don't want themselves to appear on, and they don't want any feedback from.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. And I guess going on to like the pitches then, and how HARO works and how we write the pitches. What are some of the tips that you would kind of go through about the pitches? How would you structure them and all those kind of things?
Pitches, I would always, they need to be concise, but they need to be personable. One thing journalists love is a sense of personality that comes through from any pitch you make. If you pitch dry content to someone, they're not going to use it. You need an authoritative voice, and you need to be pitching as a person. So a sense of personality is the most important thing that should come through with any pitch to any journalist.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I guess other kind of more practical things is, I guess, it's really important to reply quickly, right?
Right. So we work, because HARO is based in New York and we're based in the UK. We're 5 hours behind anyway. So what we do is we pitch on any requests from the afternoon and the evening lists the next morning, and then the morning list comes through, and we can pitch on that straight away without hesitation, without delay. Whereas because it's released at 5:30 in the morning, we'll get it at 10:30, and that's the primary list that we focus on for the day. So we'll hit that, bang, 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 go through it, sort out the pitches, and those pitches will go out the same day off that, because it's speed and clarity, and a sense of mainly clarity in the answer that the journalists are looking for when they pick up, if they pick up your pitches and your requests.
Yeah, and I guess as well, if somebody's already answered, if a journalist has already got enough quotes, or somebody has already answered the question, they're not going to continue to keep reading the answers, are they? They're going to look at the first few that come through, that give them what they want, pick them up, and run with it.
Well, sometimes, yeah, but sometimes the requests that come through before ours hit aren't what they're looking for. They know what they're looking for, and when they see the request, they'll pick up on that, and they'll run with that. We've pitched on things a couple of days after the fact, because of time delays, that have actually been picked up and used.
Right.
And they're usually higher DR sites than ones that want their answers quickly. Okay.
So do they set a deadline? Do they, some of them, until when they need?
Every single request, every single HARO request has a set deadline. So if you miss that deadline, you'll get an email back saying HARO query not active, because it works to a very, very strict deadline. So as long as you make the deadline, that answer will be sent through to the journalists, and they can read through at their leisure, and they can choose what answers they want to use, or which suits their story angle better than anything else.
Yeah. But I guess the faster the better, ultimately, I think. Probably.
Yes, absolutely. Speed is of the essence, as with anything else. Yeah.
But you're right. Given that we're based in the UK, we can hit those 5:30 ones before a lot of people wake up. So it's quite. A lot of people wake up in the US. At 5:30. That's 5:30 East Coast time as well, right?
Yeah, that's 5:30 EST. So it would be 2:30 in the morning West Coast time. Yeah.
So like we get the jump, I guess, on those ones.
Yeah, absolutely, we do.
Awesome. Okay, and I guess it's also worth mentioning that some of the journalists will give some give better instructions than others, but there's definitely some clear instructions that are important to follow, right? When it comes to pitching.
Right, you absolutely work to brief. Whatever the journalists ask for, that's what you do. You just put your own personality, and you put and you make it as concise and clear as possible. The problem, the main difference between writing for HARO or writing pitches for HARO and writing content, which is what we do on the other side of the business, is that we tend to go for like drier, information-based answers with content. That doesn't work for HARO. It needs a bit of pep, it needs a bit of zip. It needs something behind it to grab a journalist's attention. Just simple, dry, informational content won't work. Yeah,
for sure. And we picked. Yeah, I mean, you were telling me the other day, because I haven't been following too much, like exactly all the sites that we've been picking up. But you mentioned that we had we got one from Forbes, right? And
yeah. Well,
through
last
some other-
night
Gone.
last night was a really good. We got a do follow link on MSN.
Ah, okay, awesome.
So that
Awesome. So,
was like
yeah.
a 92 DR, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, we've been getting some seriously good links with this service so far,
Yeah.
haven't we? It's
have,
been
yeah.
even better than we expected, I think, in terms of like the authority of the sites that we're getting links on. But yeah, we're going to share. I think we're getting some data together now. Now that we've been running it good 6 months, we can get some data together about like the average DR we're achieving, kind of the success rate in terms of pitches converting to links, and how many are do follow, how many are not do follow, and all that kind of stuff. So I think that's something we're going to get together and be able to kind of share, I think, with the audience at some point, kind of the success rate and stuff of those kind of things, which will be interesting, hopefully, for people.
And my camera won't be as dark next time, I'm hoping.
Yeah, next time. You said you're a ghost. You literally do look like one. So we'll have to work that out for next time.
Yeah.
But okay, so yeah, okay, so it's concise and to the point. You structure the emails well. Is there any sort of tips on? You say it's concise and to the point. Like, when we kind of first picked up like doing HARO, we spoke about being able to answer the query and almost in a sentence right at the start, and then kind of go into any kind of validation, any detail. But you almost want to kind of answer the question like immediately, almost within the first couple of sentences.
Right. So the way I work is you need an authoritative voice. You need something to grab the journalist away. So you need an introduction, a quick, snappy introduction that tells the journalist that you're qualified to answer their question. So as soon as you've got that, bang, you can say, I've read your HARO query, I read your HARO post, I read your HARO question about, and then blah, 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 about what, and then just go straight into the pitch, straight into what you want them to know. Make it snappy, make it punchy, give them the content they want, and then just sign off and go. So, I mean, some journalists, all they're after is a single paragraph. Some are going to ask you 15 questions within their HARO request. The problem with that is it's kind of bending the HARO rules, because when you get into the nitty gritty of HARO, it says no answer should be more than 300 words. You shouldn't, expect more than that from your sources, but journalists get around it by asking multiple questions within the framework of their request.
Yeah,
that means that sometimes a pitch can be anything from 150 to 2,000 words, depending upon what you're writing.
Yeah. And also, I think when it comes to the pitches, another key point is that we want to make it copy and pasteable almost for the journalist. We want to make it easy for them. We don't want it to make hard work. They've got to dig out the information and then come up with the quote or the paragraph themselves. We want it to be able to go, oh my god, that's easy. I'm just going to copy and paste. That's so good, and just provide that as a quote.
Right, and that's the beauty of HARO, because it makes the journalist's life so much easier. All they say is, oh well, if I ask them this question, I get the answer I want. I can just copy and paste it there. And one of the team last week said, I'm new to HARO, but essentially we're writing their articles for them, and that's exactly what we're doing. We are writing a journalist article for them. They're just using our quotes and structuring their articles around it with a couple of sentences here and there, and it's great because it makes their life easier, and we get what we want from them. Because when journalists use those quotes, they always use their sources, and they always validate their sources.
Absolutely. Is there anything we send through? I haven't. How do we send them a link to our bio and our headshot, or do we attach that to the emails? Like how do we work that?
The bio is part of the pitch sheet we actually use. So there's a headshot and a bio at the end of the pitch sheet. So a pitch sheet will be structured with, "Hi, I'm so and so from so and so." Then the pitch goes in. You sign off. Thanks for your time. The name. Then there's a brief client bio, including a link to their website and a headshot. So it's basically using psychology. So the journalist will take the answer, and instead of forcing the bio on them, the bio is there present at the end. So it feels like it's their choice to use it or not, which makes it easier for them to go, okay, I'm going to use that. No problem. It doesn't take 2 minutes for me to put this person's name and this person's website in, put it online, and then we get the link that we need.
Yeah. So it's not just that we make the pitch or the copy easy to copy and paste. We want to make it easy for them to insert the link as well, which is what
we just want to make it as easy as every stage of the process for the journalist who can. Yeah. And it's no more work for us because we've got basic client pitch sheets. We can copy and paste them into another separate document, write the pitch inside, and then copy and paste that into an email and that off. Because everything with HARO is email based, but I tend to think it's important to keep a copy of your pitch so that you can refer back to it again if you need to at a later date, and you've always got it on hand.
Yeah. Awesome. So we've got a few questions coming in. Maybe let's pick those up now. We'll answer some questions, and then we'll go back to a couple of other things about how we track links and how we make sure we get a do follow and any other kind of tips that you've got, Tim. But a couple of questions. We got Chris. Are there any niches you see journalists looking for pitches? Looking for more regularly, basically, I think.
Not really. It depends. At the moment, there is a flurry of requests about the Russia-Ukraine conflict, which we tend to avoid, and we avoid anything political, and we avoid anything that might not be what our clients are looking for. There's always pitches about best this, best that. Can we get a sample of this request or that request? And you have to be very careful when you're pitching on the best of things, because sometimes they're really easy to do, but sometimes people will get back to you and they'll say, well, can you send a sample of this? So we can't send a sample of that through because we're not pitching on that basis. There's always medical requests. Occasionally there's legal requests, and there's a flurry of business requests, especially about remote and hybrid working at the moment as we're coming to the end of the pandemic, because it's the whole model of business has changed. So I guess people want to write about the way the world is changing. So those requests come through, and we answer them.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And I think there's a certain level of creativity, right? We need to have when it comes to pitching on behalf of any website, really, on our clients, because they're never going to be a perfect fit, or quite often they're not going to be a perfect fit, right? So we have to kind of get a little bit creative about the pitches. Yeah. Is that fair?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So when me and Kev, from the co-manager the link building team, started this, it was just me and Kevin basically working out all the details of HARO, trying to figure out how to do this and make it work for us. And we found out very quickly, the pair of us, that it's literally like hammering square pegs into round holes sometimes. You've got to be careful about the way you've got to use a little bit of lateral thinking to make things sort of fit and jiggle them into place. And with a little bit of imagination, we can usually do it, no problem at all.
Yeah. It just needs to be, just a little bit creative. It's just the way it is. If you want to get links from HARO, you can't just you'd be waiting all day for the perfect thing to come along.
Right. So. There's no such thing as the perfect request. You've got to be a little bit creative. You've got to use your imagination a little bit and go, let's push this out as far as we possibly can here, or as far as we possibly can there, and it tends to work that way more than any other way.
Yeah. Awesome. Questions coming thick and fast now, so we'll try and pick them off.
Right.
There we go. A video of a broken down pitch would be good. Yeah, that's something we could think about doing, Tony. We'll have to think about whether we can. There's something we can share there, because Robin also said, do you have a template for this, like a pitch template? So that might be something we can look at. We'll chat about that, Tim, after, and see what we can do.
Well, we use pitch templates, so we can certainly put one up and show people how we do it. That's not an issue if everyone's happy to do that.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Roughly how long should a HARO writer spend going through queries during the day? Just Caitlin.
Right, that's a good question. It depends on how big the lists are, because HARO lists vary. They can be. Fridays are the worst day for HARO requests because they tend to be like Thursday night. No journalist wants to bother writing a piece on Friday. So the list can be 30, 40 requests long. But the list they go out on a Friday evening for Monday can be 150 different requests. So anywhere
per day, between half an hour and 45 minutes, maybe, just to solidify what you need to pitch on and what you can and can't pitch on.
Okay.
And it's always better to read every request twice, because sometimes you'll miss something in there, you'll pitch on, and you'll think, no.
Yeah.
That's completely wrong. Sometimes sometimes you've written a great pitch, and you find it out there, and you know it's going to be used.
Yeah. It's great, but everything about this HARO is time consuming, right?
Yeah.
We've got a team of 6 or 7 now people.
There's 8 of us in total.
Okay.
8 writers in total.
So 8 people just pitching, doing this job basically of looking through the queries and pitching like all day. That's all they do. So it's very time consuming and labor intensive.
But it's fun.
Hey, but it's fun. You do love it. What kind of conversion rate do you see with a dialed in pitch? I don't know if we've even got the data on that right now. I asked for something similar the other day, didn't I? I don't know, do we?
Yeah. It kind of depends. It depends on the niche we're pitching on and what the request is. There's a higher conversion rate for some clients and some niches than there is for others. It varies from day to day, it varies from request to request, and it varies according to niche. There's no specific set sort of percentile point that you should be looking at with a percent. So say somebody says, "Oh, well, your HARO conversion rate is going to be 1 in 10 pitches." It doesn't work like that. It could be 1 in 10 pitches for one client. It could be 1 in 30 for another. You've just got to get a sense for what you're doing and a sense for who you're pitching for and what you're pitching on.
Yeah. Okay. We will share some more data, Blogger, when we've got it. Like we've got 6 months of data now. We can probably start sharing and what the conversion rates are and maybe even across different niches. I think it's really quite interesting, I think, kind of data to pull out and be useful for us. So we've kind of been holding off because we haven't got a big enough data set for it to be, make sense. But we're kind of at 6 months now and we've got quite a bit, so it makes a bit more sense. HARO writing is a pretty tedious process. It's fun, Caitlin. Didn't you hear? Didn't you hear with Tim? Yeah, Tim genuinely does love it though. He loves all this stuff. So I guess you have to be the right kind of person. But how do you keep motivated? Well, it's just fun. Like when writing numerous pitches and then playing the waiting game. Yeah,
because the lists are different every single day. And you never know what you're going to get. When you switch on your computer in the morning and you dial in the list, you never know what your day is going to involve. You can't pre-plan HARO. HARO is an ever-evolving and ever-changing beast. So it makes it exciting and it sort of makes it fun because you never know what you're going to be writing that day. You've just got to bounce from one thing to the next and, keep your creative step going. That flowing.
Yeah.
As it were.
Yeah. I totally agree. So this is another one from Caitlin. What is the best way for a HARO writer to structure their day to maximize the number of pitches they send out? That's another good question.
Okay, so daily pitch sheet. Find out what you're going to pitch to first thing in the morning and the 10th when all the lists are through. As long as you've got your pitches assigned for each list on according to next to the client name, you can then go back and write them. So basically, the way I'll do it is I find out what I'm going to pitch on. I've got them set in my mind, and then I'll go through client by client by client, and I'll pitch on the things I want to pitch on or that I can pitch on, and work it that way. So, a couple of hours planning, the rest of the day writing.
Yeah,
I'm pulling your hair out, going, I've written that pitch wrong, and going back and writing it again, and panicking and just.
So. Mr. Bain says, I use HARO myself. My best tip would be avoid overthinking pitches, just go with something short and punchy. Would you concur with that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If the more you overthink something, the drier the content of your pitch is going to be. And if it's dry, if it's purely informational, nobody wants to use it. You've just got to get into the mindset of the persona you're pitching with. Get in the mindset of your client. As much as the more you know about the client you're pitching for, the easier it is. Because you can write with their voice. Some clients will be the absolute polar opposite of you personality wise, but it doesn't matter because it's fun to pretend to be somebody else. It's fun to ghost.
Yeah, you don't know who you're going to be today.
Well, that's it. The only problem is by the time you reach Friday, you've got you you have to completely switch off so that you don't suffer from dissociative identity disorder, and you don't start forget. You actually remember who you are.
Okay, so we've got Tony again. This is good. This is a question. This is something we were gonna cover in a minute. So it's good that we get the question asked now. Anyway, so how do you get the link? I've answered a few, and I've used the info, but I didn't get a link.
Right. So you have to include. You have to make it seem like it's the journalist's choice to use it, rather than forcing it on them. So on a structure your pitch sheet with your introduction, your pitch, your sign off, and at the bottom include a brief bio, but the primary information you want them to use is the website link. So that should be at the top of the bio. If you make it seem like it's the journalist's choice to use it, they're more likely to use it. If you try and force a link on someone, they're not going to use it. Because journalists are an ordinary
please send
bunch.
me a link to here. Make sure it's a do follow.
Yeah. Well, exactly. You can't. You don't even mention linking in any pitch whatsoever. Just present the information to them at the bottom of the pitch, and then it becomes their choice to use it. If it's their choice to use it, they're going to use it. Because it's just, otherwise it's like, a naughty school child going, I'm not going to do that because I don't want to do it. I don't want to use what you're telling me. And it's just a situation you need to avoid. Present the information to them, let them, and make it their choice to use it, basically.
So I genuinely don't know
it's
the
very
answer.
hit and miss.
I genuinely don't know the answer to this question because we've talked about it a few times. I know at one point we were looking at going back, and anybody that didn't include a link, asking them and going back to them and asking them to include a link. But then we had some kind of shirty responses from some people then we kind of felt like, well, maybe we don't want to burn bridges with people either. So what's our process at the moment? Do we go back and ask people for links if they haven't included it?
No, because colorful language isn't something I want or we should be exposed to from some journalists, and we have been exposed to some colorful language from some of them when requesting links. Basically, you should present it as their choice. If it's presented as a journalist's choice, they're more likely to use it than if you pursue them and don't use it. And if you've pursued them and they haven't used a link and you want them to use a link maybe at some point further down the line, if you've burnt that bridge, it's not going to happen. So you have to be very careful not to do that.
Yeah, and I think there are journalists that use HARO a lot, and if you become one of the people they use a lot, like you could actually build a genuine relationship with a journalist where they actually come to you for stuff. So we don't want to ruin that potential relationship where it's very easy for us to get links when we're just asking for links. So I think I guess right now we don't go and ask for them if they've not been included.
No.
Okay.
Not all. It's better to leave it up to the journalist to choose whether they use that information or not. And 90% of the time, if they're using the information you presented to them and it's presented freely without any expectation from them, they'll include the link.
Yeah, sounds good. Caitlin, it's fun to write, but getting those links is hard. That's why we're here, Caitlin. That's why we're here. It's time consuming but that's the same with any link building. I think it's not easy. It just is. It's all about labor and time consuming and a numbers game to a certain extent. So this is Ash. What are your experiences with anonymous requests? Are they worth the risk of pitching on? This is a good one.
Absolutely. Never ignore an anonymous request ever, because contrary to popular opinion, it won't. If it's used, it won't just produce a DR link that's maybe worth 10, 20. Sometimes, well, I'll give you an example. One client, I pitched on an anonymous request, and the link that was returned had a do, and it was a DR of 90. So it's worth pitching on these things, because sometimes journalists will stay anonymous to avoid too many people pitching on a certain story. So say if CNN pitched something out and they didn't want anybody to notice CNN, they go with anonymous so that they get genuine replies rather than people trying to get on CNN. basically.
I think all the big ones, they just don't do it because they've got thousands of pictures otherwise to fill up their inbox. So yeah, definitely.
Well, and there was an anonymous request earlier this week. I ended up talking to one of Oprah Winfrey's researchers who pitched out anonymously, because if you see it's from Oprah, you're going to go for it, aren't you? But if you see it's an anonymous request, it makes the question more appealing to the people who actually know what they're talking about, rather than making it a mass answer, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. Blogger says that's why a good HARO service is so valuable. Totally agree, Blogger. And link building across the board is a tough game. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's go. I think we've got to the end of this questions. If you've got any more, hit them in the box. We'll just cover one last small topic, we'll answer any other questions, and then we'll go to the draw, because we're already at first 45 likes, and I didn't even have to ask. So, Tim, despite the fact we can't see you and other tech issues, we've done well. So one last question in there. How do we go about tracking links? How do we know that we got a link?
Right. Well, sometimes, occasionally, journalists will actually email you and let you know that they've used your story, and they'll give you a link to the piece with a link in. Most of the time, they won't, which is why we use Ahrefs and SEMrush to check for any links that might have appeared and hopefully will have appeared. And that's the only way you can do it. The only way you can be sure is to check for the links yourself, because having been a journalist, I can't say we are a lazy bunch, and we'll do as little as we possibly can. But it's journalism, like any other occupation, is time consuming, and sometimes you just forget to acknowledge your sources and say thank you. So it's best to use a link track tool like SEMrush or Ahrefs.
So we go to the backlinks part of those tools. We check the backlinks, and then we check. We'll know which ones we've pitched to, because we'll recognize the wording that we've used, and we'll be able to go in and see that. So.
Well, one of the tricks I found that works better for actually checking the links when we use Ahrefs and SEMrush is if we use there's always a section where text with key anchor text or text located around the anchor, and if you put in the name of the persona or the person you're pitching as in that box and then check it, that will always come up, and you'll know that's the link you've secured because you've pitched as that person or you've pitched using that persona. That's another handy little trick handed out.
Very nice. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, so one last question. What about no-follow links? Are they worth the effort? So, so my view on that before. So, sorry, Tim.
You know more about that than I do, Mark. I mean, I'm a writer, and I just get the links through. You know whether the no-follow links are actually worth anything in the grand scheme of things.
I mean, I guess what I always say here is, like, would you take a no-follow? Would you put in a bit of work and take a no-follow link on something like Forbes? And like the answer, I think it's always yes. So, okay, you may not get a massive amount of SEO value from it potentially, but I would argue probably that you do. And even if you were to get no SEO value, then you're going to get credibility in the eyes of Google. If they're looking at your site and you've got a backlink from Forbes, despite it being a no-follow link, you're going to get some credibility there that you're putting together some good work. So I would also argue probably that there is some SEO value there, but it's hard to prove, like those kind of things, even though it's not a follow link. Obviously, a follow link would be better. But I think it's absolutely fine, and basically but we don't count as using our service. We only count the follow links, so we'll get a certain number of links a month. If you get a no follow link from Forbes, we won't even count it. So as part of the thing. So I mean, it's and you never really know quite often whether you're going to get a follow link or a no follow link. So you don't have that choice of working out if you're going to put in the work or not. You find out later.
But if we get no follow links, they're included as a bonus for our service anyway. So no follow links or links to social media profiles or articles in which the persona has been quoted, that's just a bonus on top of the actual do follow links that
provided by the service.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. Good for eats as well, I'd suggest, Mr. Bain. Okay, so Kev says, yeah, also handy to have some no-follow links in your backlink profile. You don't want 100% do follow because it looks a bit suspicious, which I would totally agree with as well. So, good. Any more questions? Let us know in the next 2 minutes. Meanwhile, whilst you're thinking of questions, you can type them into the chat box, or just type anything into the chat box. Hello, goodbye. Where's Tim? I can't see him, or anything like that. You'll be entered into the draw for some merch. Oh, see, the back to front camera gets me every time. So there's some merch. Oh, I got my cap as well. Get that back on. So if you want some niche website builders merch, type something into the chat now, and I'll grab you out in the next 2 minutes, because just the way YouTube works. See if there's any other questions. No, anything else to add, Tim? Oh, you got some pro tips. Hit us up some pro tips. I think you probably covered it, actually.
Well, be creative, basically. The thing is, you have to remember you're not writing for yourself. When you're answering HARO requests, you're not writing as you. You're writing as somebody else. So you have to imagine yourself in somebody else's. Well, you have to inhabit somebody else's personality, basically. I am Kev. That's right. I'm in a CIA black site. But the more imaginative you can be, and the more personable you can make a pitch, the more likely it is to be used. Because at the end of the day, we're ghostwriters. That's what we do. We ghost for somebody else. You can't write as yourself. You can't be yourself. If you write as yourself, you're not gonna. Your pitch rate is not going to succeed. You're just not going to be. You have to write as the person you're pitching for. You have to know your client's site. You have to know as much about your client as you possibly can, and you have to write to that. And it's basically just framing your pitches around what you know about the client and what you know about what the client would say and what they'd answer. And that's basically it. Be creative, be concise. HARO's a mixture of creativity and psychology, and that's basically what it is.
Yeah. Awesome. I totally agree. Yeah, and I think probably with practice it kind of gets easier as well. But top quality. Oh no, hang on. You already had that. Top quality info. Oh no, hang on. Where was it? Oh yeah, go. Blogger wants a cap for his bald head.
Well, Bill's asking how much the service costs, so go to the website and have a look. Because we offer different packages.
Yeah, let me just copy these names out, and then I'll bring that up as well on the screen at the same time. Oops, he says. Okay, you've missed the chance. Oh, there you go. Look, Chris has put the link into the chat there. Thank you, Chris. But we might as well quickly talk it through. So I'll share my screen. Here it is on the website. So you've got a number of different options, actually. So starts with contributor. It's $1,375 a month, and you get 5 links a month for that. The first month's a setup month where we set up the persona and all the email accounts and all of that kind of stuff. So it's $99 first month, and then that subsequently. The difference between these is that anything over a DR20 qualifies for a link. What I should say is that if any links happen to be below DR20 or below DR40 on these packages, then they don't get counted either, but you still get the link. So it's up to you kind of which ones you choose, but this is our lowest package where you get 5 links that are above DR20. Quite often they are significantly higher than DR20. It's not to say you'll only get stuff between DR20 and DR40. We don't know what we're going to get at the end of the day. It's just that we'll count them, the ones that are in that range of 20 to 40 as well. If you want guaranteed to be over DR40, then it kind of goes up from there. We can also create a bespoke package, however you like it, however you want it, if you're interested in kind of going ahead with the service as well. So hopefully that kind of answers the question a little bit. Here are the wheel of names. Let's just check if I've got. Okay, I'm just going to take out one last copy just to make sure we've got everybody. Me, I'll take out niche website builders.
Spin.
Here we go. Oh, I'd have to show the merch. People have seen the merch. Don't see the music.
Oh, you're wrapping the merch well, mate. It's looking good.
That's true. The merch is here, right in front of your face. Oh, it's going to be Kev. Or is it going to be Math? Congratulations, Kev. Kev's on the link building team. So we'll spin again. See who we get. Kev, that counts. You can have some merch. Don't worry. You can still get some merch. We'll spin another one for somebody else too. Oh, is it going to be Tony? Mr. Bain? They both asked lots of questions. Mr. Bain, congratulations. Thanks for all your questions on the stream. So glad you won. You asked lots of questions. They were great. So thanks for joining us, everyone. Is there any closing words, Tim?
I am sorry that my camera's terrible and that everything is so dark here, but I do live in like Aberkenfig, which is one of the grimmest villages in the Bridgend area. So
in Wales, in the depths of the valleys.
The only thing this village is good for is multiple Chinese takeaways and the fact we have a gun shop and a sex shop.
A gun shop?
And we've got a gun shop and a sex shop in our village. There's like 2,000 people live here, so why we need both of those things is absolutely beyond me, but we do.
Okay, I didn't even know we had gun shops in the UK. But there you go.
Yeah, it's guns and fishing. Apparently, it's very popular around here. There's not really much to do, so guns, fishing, and sex, I guess. Takes
not all at once.
Takes top prize. Well, I don't know.
Okay, we'll stop there before we get into your fetishes. Tim. We'll save that for another day. Off stream.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks everybody. Thanks for coming, and we'll catch you next time.